Hi everyone, I'm Angela and welcome to Crafting with Angela. Today I'm going to show you how to make easy journaling spots for your junk journals. So I have a couple of prototypes here and these are just pictures that I got out of books, magazines, and what I have done is this one. They've all been backed on just light white cardstock. This one I backed it on the paper, then tore an edge around it, and I've come in with some ink. This one I tore around the image, then glued it onto the card, tore around the card to give a white border just to make it that bit bigger, and again came around with the ink. And this one I backed it on the card, and then I trimmed it straight. I rounded two corners, and then I came in with a fancy corner punch for the other two corners. I've also come around the edges with the ink as well. And these are just ways of using images and things that you can make really easy journaling spots. I'm going to show you the kind of places that you can find these images in. So I have a range of magazines and books here. So for those of you in the UK, I'm part of the National Trust. This handbook comes out every year and it's a great resource. It tells you all about the different places, but also has fantastic images in it. And you can see I've already been through this, taken out some images. You can see this is partly where part of that image that you've seen. I think it's this one originally came from this top corner here. But there's a couple of other images. This is great for images of places. So here's a scene of a nice old building, or alternatively, if you look, you can see sometimes images like this, which is just the inside of an abbey, and it's just a really nice. Can you imagine that as a journaling spot? Depending on what type of journal you were doing, it would look completely different. And then there's one here of a nice beach scene. So again, it just depends on what your plan is for your journal. This is the magazine that comes out every year, and I just wanted to show you. I thought if you wanted a long, thin, almost tag shape journaling spot, that with the path on it would be really nice. It doesn't always have to be about trees and plants and things like that. This one here, you either have this spot down at the bottom, or you could use this square up here with the lively house and the boats and the water and all. I think that's a really pretty picture. Here we've got the seaside. I've just literally, all I do is go through this and mark off pictures that I think would be good. This one, I thought this image of this image of a dress of some sort. I'm trying to read through this to see if it tells me exactly where it is, but I thought that was lovely, and that could be easily turned into a long tag. Again, depends on what your journal's going to be and what you want it to be. There's also a couple of pictures here if you wanted to do that. And this one here, you had the furniture, if you wanted to do more like a picnic, or you have like a play park there. So just depending on what the images are in the books, depends on what you can make. I have a crafting magazine. You can get any magazine would work, but what I thought was really nice here, this magazine, you have this really nice picture here of a gift box that's been made, or alternatively this one here, which is a Friends Like You Never Go Out of Style, or the Born to Shop, Stay Wild. Those cards, or even Happy Birthday, could be turned into really nice journaling spots if that's something you are looking for. So what I'm going to show you today is taken from this handbook. This handbook is really thin paper. You know, it's very thin paper, but it's very you know, lots of different pictures. I'm not going to go for these. I'm going to go for this one here, with the really nice the Abbey walkway, because I just think that is such an unusual site that I think it'd be turned into a really nice journal spot for quite a lot of different journals. So what I do when I go to tear this out, I always check what's on the back side to see, is that something that I want at that part at the top? If I can get this whole page out, that part at the top could get turned into something. And the reason I'm saying that is because how you do this, what you do to take it out really does depend on what you can do with it. You could come in with a pair of scissors and just trim it out. You could tear it out. Because I like what's on the back, and both of these images go most of the way through, all I'm going to do is I put a metal ruler into that gap behind, just so it doesn't cut more than one page out at a time, because I don't want to be cutting every page out in the book. And what I'm going to do now is just come in. It's actually started to, in fact, there we go. It started dripping the one spot I didn't want it drip, which is pretty typical. So it's ripped most of the way down, but I'm just going to come in here with my knife and just trim that last piece down. And that's so that I don't ruin the picture that I actually want. So this is with two images. I'm holding it up to the light. I don't know if you can see, but I can hold it up to the light to see, can I see where that overlap is? And that overlap's pretty close on that line. Sorry, I was just trying to find my cutting mat there, which had disappeared. It's fallen down the back of something slightly bent, but it'll do for this part. It will do, although it doesn't want to sit flat. And all I'm going to do here, again, come in with the knife and cut along that edge. Okay, we're just cutting that, and when I turn this part over now, you can see that that trims out, that gives me a really nice picture there. So I'm going to trim both of these out. That is the thing, you do have to be careful when you're using really thin paper. It doesn't help that this cutting mat is not flat and straight either, but you want to make sure when you're cutting, especially with a knife, that you're not dragging on any of the picture, because that's when you get that tear in the corner. You could use scissors or a paper trimmer here. Whatever cutting tools you have works really well. And all I'm going to do now is come in here and cut that last spot down. I'm actually going to try and straighten it up on the edges, just so we can get as straight a line there as possible. Okay, take these scraps out of the way. And then we're going to do exactly the same thing with this piece. If you do use a knife and a ruler, it just helps if you hold down the ruler at multiple parts along your cutting edge, so you don't have a chance for your ruler to run off when you're halfway through pushing down. Can happen sometimes. I always like to check that I have cut the paper away before I move the ruler, because you'll never get it lined up neatly again. So I do that and try to make sure that it's cut before I move it away. Okay, so all I'm using to back these, that's an A4 sheet of cardstock. I get it from Hobbycraft here in the UK. Any cardstock, it's only 160 GSM, so it's quite lightweight, you know, it's quite flimsy. That's absolutely fine for what we want to do with it. So we just have a sheet of this. Oh, it's all hiding, so I have my orange glue mat here that I like to use. Okay, so because this is just paper to like cardstock, I'm just going to use a glue stick for it, and all I'm going to do is come in and glue the back of both of these pieces onto the card. I'm going to cut these both like this one with the trim to the image. These worked really nicely with the torn edges, but I don't think I want them for these ones, but just to show you you can do it a different way. So because of that, I'm just going to glue these down straight to the edge and try and minimize the amount of cutting that I have to do. So using the glue stick, we just want to put a good amount of glue on here. Now just coming in and gluing that down on that top edge. Okay, missing out a bit. I'm not going to pull it up and try and redo it because that kind of defeats the purpose. But coming in with my bone folder and just giving it a good press down, and then do exactly the same thing for the other piece. Come in here, missed that top corner. I can feel that there's no glue on it. Now, I don't know if you can see in the video up here, you can see the back of some text in it. That doesn't overly bother me. It's going to be a journaling spot, but if it does, just you can consider that before you decide on what pictures you're going to do. Now I'm coming in with my scissors. I'm going to put the glue mat out of the way. Coming in with my scissors, I'm just going to cut these down. So these are the two pictures we have now. For the smaller one, I am just going to come in with a corner rounder. This is a We Are Memory Keepers corner rounder. There's the 3 different sizes. I just want, I think, a 7, so about a medium size. But it just depends on what you have. If you only have one corner rounder in your stash, that will work just as well. You don't have to round the corners. I just think it gives it a better finished view or picture. And then for the other one, I'm going to put this corner. So I have 2 of these corner punches. Can't remember what the makes are. I'll see if I can find them. There's one that gives this sort of edge, and then the other one, if you that sort of print edge. It just depends on what you have. I think I prefer them not to quite stick out so much. That one I think is more for, to me, a tag corner or something like that. So just going to come in similar to this, but what I'm going to do before I look at this and see which of these corners, we'll do 2 diagonal corners. I think this corner and this corner would be the 2 that would work best with this punch. So I find these punches are much easier to use from looking at the back, because you can make sure everything's nicely lined up. And then we just come in and punch it. Like I said, all you want to do is make sure your corner is nicely lined up. Okay. Oops. Those last 2 weeks, that was not quite down in the right area. And then we'll come in with the 7mm punch and round off the last 2 corners as well. That just finishes that off. 2 last things I can do to finish these off. First things, I have distress ink, so I have a walnut stain. I'm going to put that around the edge, but I also have, this is the same thing with a bit of 240 grit sandpaper on it, and this is just a way I like of finishing that edge off. And all I'm doing is coming in and kind of rubbing at an angle along that edge, just making it look that bit more vintage. You don't want to take too much of it off. You definitely want to make sure you're just on the edge. But I think it just a bit of sanding around that edge just makes it look that bit better. I'm going to do the same here, but again, you're wanting to keep it angled, so you're not taking, you don't want to take lots of the picture off. You're just wanting to kind of rough up the very outside edges. This works especially well when you're using magazine pictures, or something that's being printed, because a nice thin paper, it's not doing much to the card below, but it is trying to give that more vintage edged opinion or appearance to it. And then to finish up, I'm just going to come in with some distress ink and just come in on the edges. You also can come in and ink on the back of them. So for this one, I'm just going to come in and ink on the back just to make sure, because you will sometimes get a bit of the inking coming over from the back, but I just like to make sure, that it looks intentional. It doesn't look like you've just messed up a bit on the when you were inking on the front. Okay, what I'm going to do for this one, which is smaller, I'm going to do that inking as well, but I'm also thinking I want to put something on it that's a bit more deliberate. Not very much of it, but I'm just going to come in with this as a random mask that I have. I'm just looking to see where's the best pattern. Not looking to do tons of it. So I'll come in with a brush for this one, I think. Just to make sure it's a relatively light touch. All I'm trying to do here is give a bit of an almost ghost image here, just so it doesn't look quite so what's the word I'm looking for, the white edge can be quite plain. So I'm just coming in here with, and once I've done this, I'll come in with the brush and just give it a bit of a light edging. That just, I think, finishes off. Still leaves plenty of spots for journaling, but just makes the whole thing look that bit more deliberate, which I do. So let me put that. Here we have 2 journaling spots. This one's plain on the back but with the fancy cut edges, and this one is like that. We just put a bit of a stencil over that and some more of an edging. Again, you can write over that because it's the brown colour. That's how to make some easy journaling spots from your magazine pictures